is February 26th, 2 o'clock p.m. California time. I'm actually not in Bakersfield today. Today I'm over at the coast and visiting at a friend's house. So you can see the ocean out the windows if you could see out the windows. It's just lovely over here. And the sun is out, it's warm, it's absolutely lovely. So there's not a whole lot to talk about today, but I do have a couple questions to answer. And the first one is from Julie Lynn. She asked this on Ravelry. She accidentally bound off too low for the armhole on her modified drop shoulder. And there is a fix to that. She was worried about it. She doesn't want to unknit. She's knitted it all the way up to the tops of the shoulders, and she doesn't want to drop down and redo all of that. What she can do is pick up stitches along the bound off edge, and where the bound off edge it connects to the fabric of the body, make an extra stitch there. And you can do that by doing a knit front and back on the next row, because you're going to end up seaming up the edge where the body and the new armhole are going to be before the bind off. So let's say you bound off 10 stitches. You're going to pick up 10, and when you turn to work the first row, on the stitch that is next to the body, you would do a knit front and back, or a purl front and back. And you might need to do it on a swatch to see how it looks first. And then you're going to work up, she needs to work up 2 inches, and then bind off again. And then you can seam that extra stitch to the body stitch. And it should be fairly invisible. This should be a very invisible fix. But again, I would try it on a swatch first. That's always the safest thing to do rather than on your sweater. So there's some other questions, and one person actually looks like they're ready to start their sleeves. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the sleeve. This is an example of a sweater in process where here's part of the front and here's part of the back. Okay. When you have that much fabric, when you have the fronts and the backs knit, what you can do is use that fabric to determine how much sleeve cuff you want. For example, on this sweater, you could take the front fabric, here's the front fabric, and you could actually put it around your wrist. If I can get it going here. So I can put this over my wrist and see, I can actually pinch it together here and see how tight do I want my wrist to be. Now that's assuming that this is the same sort of design that you're going to make up your sleeve. And oftentimes you can pick an element from the front or the back of your sweater to go up the center of your sleeve. Let's say that I want this element right here to be the center panel that goes up my sleeve. I would just bring this together. You could put a little pin there or something, take it off, and then count the number of stitches. And that gives you an idea. Now if you want looser, of course you'd go here. If you're going to make 3/4 length sleeve, you could do it up higher on your arm. But this is the coolest trick for getting the sleeve cuff the right circumference for your arm. And you can look at the front and the back of your sweater. Here's the front again. And she's got 3 different cable panels. Do you see that? So she could choose any one of those 3 to run up her sleeve. They would all look good. She would center one and then put some other cables or other design on either side. It does not have to match, but it's nice to take one element from the sweater to run up the sleeve. Here's the back of her garment. So you can see she actually used different cables on the front than she did the back. They don't even have to match. Do you see that? And then she has the honeycomb stitch on either side as her filler stitch. So she's got two main cables, one in the center, one on either side. Let's look at the front again. On the front, she's got that one main cable that went up the center of the back is now over to the side, and she chose two other cables. Isn't that beautiful? Now she actually has her sleeves done. This is one of the people from a class that I taught in person here in Bakersfield. And she did her sleeves, and she did choose this cable right here to go up the center of her sleeve. And it goes all the way up the saddle. This is her saddle to the top of the neck. And she has it all seamed together. She's actually ready to work on the neck right now. She's very close to finishing her sweater. So let's see who's on here, okay? I'm actually over at the beach and I'm using my laptop. The lighting isn't super wonderful, but I think it's good enough. So we have Kelly, my cat from New Hampshire, Francoise from Lyon, France, Karen Pung, Sylvia Earle, Lala Luce, 57, Demetria, Linda Bear, Lily Jen. Lily Jen, did you hear me talk about your solution? Let me know if you heard that. I'll speak about it again. In fact, I wish I had, I don't have a piece of fabric to demonstrate that on. David Hensley, Kathy Trikowska, Teresa Brown, Deborah Cisneros, Evelyn Nitre, and as I said before, this one's probably going to be a little bit quick. It looks like one person is actually ready to start the sleeve. So that's going to be the next segment that's going to come out. And I'm working on that as we speak. I should have that done soon. And then it'll go to Francoise for translation. And then it'll be sent out to everyone. Once you do the fronts and the backs, the sleeves are a piece of cake. You're on the home stretch. I wanted to also show you on this sweater, she did a V-neck on the front. And you know, in the front directions, how I talk about the shaping for the V-neck. So here is her front. And can you see how the shaping cuts across? Here's the very front, this edge here. Can you see how the V cuts across this part? So the decreases for the V-neck are over here. They're not on the edge of the front of the fabric. Do you see how she did that? So you can have a panel that comes up the front and actually wraps around the neck and comes down the other side, and it looks really, really cool. You can do that with the V-neck shaping. You can also do a shawl collar the same way. You can have your cable come up like this, and your decreasing is not over here on the edge. It's over here on this side of the cable. Can you see that? Let me do something here. I need to move this. Okay, so there's the front. And do you see how the V comes over? This is the front edge right here. Here's the front of her sweater coming up. And then that front edge starts cutting over across the tops of the other cables. And in this case, you would use SS case. If you were working the other side, you would use knit two together. Here's her other side. See how it just swoops over there? That's the V-neck. So you can have your edging around the V-neck like that if you want. That's just one way of doing it. So let's see, does anybody have a question on here? If you do, put it in all caps, and I'll try to answer it. Evelyn Morel from Brunswick, Canada. I think that's the first time I've seen you on here. Hello, welcome to our group. Patricia Vela, Carlotta, Sherry Cornick. Sherry is one of the newest master knitters. Congratulations, Sherry. Your sweater was unbelievably beautiful. Unbelievably beautiful. If you haven't seen her sweater, you can go on Ravelry. Sherry, can you please give people what your Ravelry name is so that they can go and look at your sweater in your projects? It's Bavarian Twisted Stitches, and it's just gorgeous. So I'll give people a second to ask questions. This might be just really, really short today because I didn't see any issues that we need to address. It looks like everybody's plugging along really, really good. Next week, I will not be available on Wednesday unless things change. You know, with that coronavirus going around, I had planned on taking a trip across the United States next week on the train, but we have to see how it's going. I'm flexible. If it need be, I will stay home and I can do this from home. But if I'm on the train, I won't be doing that. So let's see. Oh, hello, Carlotta. Let's see, anybody else have a question? I feel like I'm letting you down today, but we really don't have anything new to talk about at this point. And Julie Lynn, you didn't let me know if you understood what I said about your sweater, if you were on here at the beginning. Oh yeah, she got it. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Sherry is Sherry C. C-H, let me put it over here. Sherry C is my Ravelry name. Go ahead and take a look at her sweater. It is stunning. So I'll give you one more minute to see if you're going to ask a question. Oh, while I'm at it, did you all get to see the interview that I did with Nathan Taylor? If you didn't get to see that, go back and watch it. It's on this same channel. He is an amazing, brilliant, think outside the box knitter. It was so darn fun. We have Luana Hendricks on here now, T. Habercorn, Fatima, hello. I think some people are going to miss it because they're late. Any questions? You can ask me anything at all. I'll try to answer. Let's see if we can drop this. No questions? I'll give you a minute. There's about a 2-minute delay from when I talk and when you actually hear me, and then I can hear. Juliet said she saw the interview with Nathan and she loved it. It is just, I think it was the best one that I've done. You know what? I was thinking, I don't know if this will work out. You know, I interviewed Alistair Post-Gwyn a while back, and he does double knitting. Another person that does double knitting is Lucy Neatby. And right now she's on a Craftsy cruise, so she's not really available. But I'm going to try and get in touch with her and see if she'd be interested in doing a live interview. So I might get Lucy Neatby. I'm going to work on that. And then I was thinking, what if I got Lucy Neatby, Alistair, and Nathan all on here at the same time, and we all talked about double knitting? I could do that if they're willing. I don't know, you know, I'd have to check with them, but that would be, Sherry wanted to know where I'm going across the country. My husband and I were going to take the California Zephyr from Sacramento to, on the Amtrak, that's the Amtrak, from Sacramento to Chicago, and then take the Chicago corridor down to Washington, D.C., and spend several days in Washington, D.C., and then fly home. But it depends on this coronavirus and whether it's starting to spread in the United States or not. I have a granddaughter who lives with me right now because her house is being remodeled, who has serious asthma. And the least little thing just knocks her for a bad loop. And I would not want to expose her to the coronavirus. So if there's any possibility that I might be exposed, I wouldn't go on the trip because then I would bring it home to my granddaughter, and I can't do that. So any other questions? or any ideas for people that you would like to see on my live stream interviews, because I'm in the process of lining up the next several. So if you have ideas and you can't think of it now, you can always post it after this video is in my YouTube channel. You can still make comments on it at that time. Okay. I'm thinking about closing it off now, so if you missed it, I'm sorry. We didn't talk about a lot. You didn't miss a lot. I may or may not be here next week. Depends on whether I'm going on my trip. I'll keep you posted. You can look in my Ravelry group and in my Facebook group. By the way, over on my other channel, Knitting with Suzanne Bryan, if you've not already subscribed to that channel, do you mind subscribing to it? Because the way YouTube counts your success is by how many subscribers you have. And I'm coming up on 60,000. When I hit 100,000 subscribers, I get special perks from YouTube. And that is my goal, is to hit 100,000. It's probably going to take another year, but that is my goal. Sherry wanted to know if my level 3 project's on my Ravelry page. It is. It's in my projects. I have a special page for it, so you can. It's in a tab. You can look at it. Luana Hendricks, question: Suzanne, I am swatching with a dark brown wool and finding it hard to get a design to show up. Do you have any suggestions on a stitch that would show up better? That is hard. Anything you do in a really dark yarn is going to be very subtle. Textural stitches might be better. Cables are still going to be subtle, but you know, some of the fisherman's ganzis that have textural knitting in them, including cables, are on very dark navy blue yarn. So it's not unusual to see that. It just doesn't stand out as much as it does on light yarn. So you can do that. A seed stitch would look really good. Any of the cables, you might want to try, if you're going to do cables, bolder cables, things that are more three-dimensional. For example, this type, the honeycomb. This honeycomb stitch would look good. Or the ones that look like antlers or stag horns, those would look good. Okay, Francoise, what a great idea, Suzanne. I will not be here also next week. I'll travel to Holland if the health situation will allow. Joanne says, Lucy would be terrific. Nathan, unbelievably talented, great colorist, all three wonderful. Okay, so let's work on that. That'll be a goal. I'll wait till Lucy gets back from her Craftsy cruise and get in touch with her. And then I don't know whether, you know, they want to do it together. I'm just proposing this right now. It would be up to them. Lullaluce 57 question. I liked your scarf you had on for the interview Saturday. Did you design that? Yes, I did design that off the cuff. It was from a trip that I took last spring to Ireland and Scotland, and I bought the yarn in Dublin, which was our first stop. And then I just started knitting it, and I took my little charting book with me, and I charted the designs, and people on the bus were giving me suggestions of what to do next. I wanted to do mostly symbols that you would see in Ireland and Scotland, and it came out pretty good. It was a really fun knit. I did about half of it on the trip and finished the other half when I got home. Okay. Nora Gone would be a good one. Yes, she thinks outside the box too. That's a great idea. I'll add her to my list. Okay, so I'm going to call it quits. I know this is really short. None of mine have been this short, but I am at the beach today, and we have covered all the material that we need to cover, and you should be getting the sleeve instructions within the next week or so. And then the only thing left after that is going to be seaming, adding the button bands. Now, somebody did comment about the button bands. They said, why wouldn't you knit the button band at the same time that you knit the front of the garment? Well, that's not the way we're doing this garment. If you do knit a button band at the same time you knit the garment, take a look at a bunch of sweaters like that on Ravelry, where they're knitted in one piece, and you'll notice that oftentimes the front of the button band pulls up and the top pulls down, and that's because if you do garter stitch or seed stitch next to a stockinette stitch fabric, you get a completely different row gauge. So the button band row gauge is much tighter than the row gauge of your garment, and your button band will not lay nice. For that reason, I usually add the button band on separately, and I calculate the difference between the stitch and the row gauge and compensate so the button band lays perfectly. I have a really good video on that. It's called Perfect Picked Up Button Bands, and you can take a look at that. That's what we will be doing on this garment. Sherry Cornick, what do you see as the next knit along? The next big knit along will be in the winter next year, will be a bottom up sweater in pieces with set-in sleeves. There may be small knit alongs in between, I'm not sure. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And I had thought that that would be the last knit along, but I was thinking that maybe the year after that I would do a top-down set-in sleeve, but all in one piece. You know how you do the contiguous set-in sleeves? There's a variety of ways to do them, so we could explore those in the very last one, which would be the following year. Also, I have to tell you that for you that are members of the Knitting Guild Association, and if you're not, you might want to join, they are going to be having a retreat in Portland, Oregon next November. I think it's let me look at the dates. Let me give you the correct dates. I have to pull up my calendar here. Calendar, look at the year, and it's going to be in November. It's going to be the 5th through the 8th, November 5th through the 8th of 2020, and I'm going to be teaching there. So you would be able to take a class from me live. The registration is going to go live, I think, March 5th. If you're already a member of TKGA, you should be getting the newsletter that comes out, and it'll tell all about the retreat. If you're not a member of TKGA, you can become a member of TKGA. You go to tkga.org. It's the Knitting Guild Association.org. And you can become a member. It costs $25 a year. It'll be the best $25 you have sent. The Knitting Guild Association is all about education. There's nothing commercial about them. They have a journal that comes out quarterly. There are no advertisements in it. It's all technical knitting information, along with supporting designs that you can try to learn the new techniques. Margot, I'm over at the coast. I'm visiting a friend over at the coast, so I am in a different room. It's very nice over here. Okay, anything else? Oh yeah, Evelyn says a knit-along vest. Yes, we're going to do a vest with pockets for people that want to learn the pockets with just a vest. We can do that, over the summer maybe. That would be very good. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Have a good day. There's no live stream interview this Saturday or the following Saturday because I'll be out of town. I may or may not be here on Wednesday, but the following week for sure I will be back and we'll be working on the sleeves. Okay? So happy knitting. Have a good day.